Hey, this is Kev from Fantasy Wildcard, and you're listening to Dynasty Hotseat.
Yes, everybody, welcome back once again to the Dynasty Hotseat. You know what it is. It's the only Dynasty show that's a certified inferno. And this week, we've got the GOAT himself, Kev, Dynasty_GOAT. You know him from the Wildcard podcast, Fantasy Wildcard podcast. Kev, what an absolute pleasure to have you on here. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good, Max. Thanks for having me on. It's a cracking concept you've got here. I'm really excited to jump in and get in that hot seat and hopefully give you my hints and tips and also draft a pretty awesome team.
Yeah, I can't wait. I've got absolutely no doubt that you're going to do just that. And Kev, I know as well, coming up on the 21st of May, you've got something pretty exciting going over at the Wildcard. Do you want to tell everyone a bit about it?
Yeah, so last year we did our first ever charity streamathon, and it went so well. We're going to do another one this year. So this is 16 hours of a live stream. We're going to be talking Dynasty football with lots of amazing guests, and it's all in aid of raising money for Mind Charity, which is a charity based in the UK that supports people with mental health issues to help get them in a better place. Obviously, it's a really relevant cause in the recent years, the pandemic, etc. as well. So Saturday 21st of May, you can donate now if you check out Fantasy Wildcard. We've got a link tree on our Twitter page. Just any donation would be more than welcome. And looking forward to raising some money for a great cause.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I think, mental health at the forefront of a lot of people's thoughts right now. So yeah, get over there to the Fantasy Wildcard Twitter account and check out the little link, and you'll be able to see that. And we have also, in case some of you with a keen eye have noticed, we have a special guest lurking in the background just for Kev, the unofficial mascot of the Fantasy Wildcard podcast. Look at him sending cheeky winks and messages to him already. So Kev, just for you, we got Hasbullah here, protecting the fleet guitar.
I'm a big fan. I don't know how public I should be with my advocacy of Hasbullah because he's Russian, but just what a guy, what a legend he is. So many great gifts and plenty of laughs along the way.
Yeah, exactly. So he's here for one night only, just to support Kev on his journey, and he's going to kick us off now with his top tips as we enter segment number 1, the art of war. So Kev, you got a few top tips for people playing Dynasty, old or new, or anything in between. So let's hear it.
Yeah, with the tips, I want to keep it pretty simple, make it sort of the groundwork, the cornerstones for any league, really. So the first one, it's one that's come up a few times, but it's utilising the tiers approach. And for people that don't know what tiers are, it's grouping players of a similar value in your rankings into groups so that you can understand sort of values within your drafts, your startups, your rookie drafts. It helps you easily navigate these, but this is something that you can use in any setting. So tiers can be used in your startup, they can be used in season rankings, in your off-season rankings, and in rookie drafts. And what it helps you do is it helps you find players in the same tier who you can pivot to and acquire extra assets on top. For example, let's say you've got Javonte Williams and Najee Harris in the same tier. Most people have Najee above Javonte, but let's say you prefer Javonte in your rankings. What you can do is easily see these are in your same tiers. You can look at a website like Keep Trade Cut where Najee is going ahead, and you can go to that Najee owner and look to get a little bit extra on top. You can go to the Javonte owner, look to get a little bit on top and move from Najee downwards while acquiring maybe an extra second or something like that. So it's just a really simple way of preventing overpays in existing trades by grouping guys, but also it stops you from reaching in players in your startups and your rookie drafts as well.
Yeah, I really like that. That's just kind of, taking two players, that's kind of 6.5 a dozen for you, and just getting, well, I'll take this guy plus. You may as well do that. If you're similar on them anyway, see if you can get just a little cherry on top. So I really, really like that as your first tip.
Thank you. What a legend. End the show.
Done. Thanks for listening. Stay lit.
So yeah, my second tip, it's again another simple one. It's understanding the trade cycle. And what I mean by the trade cycle is in season, player values are high and draft picks are low. And then the flip in the off season, player values are low and draft values are high. Again, it's allowing you to maximize value. You're going to be able to get the best deals at the cheapest price. And what understanding the cycle does for you is it makes it easier for you to plan and execute the various dynasty strategies, whether you're rebuilding, retooling, or contending. An example I've got of understanding the trade cycle is, let's say you're a team that's a QB away. You've just missed out on the championship this year. You've got a late first, and you're thinking, yeah, these rookie QBs are not really gonna give me that comfort, that certainty, I guess, that they're going to perform year one. You'd look to send your late first for maybe a guy like Kirk Cousins. What you can do is you can look at your league mates teams as well, and you can work out where they are in the cycle. Or you could even chat to them if got to be careful if you chat to them, because you don't want to be offensive and say, I can see you rebuilding. And they're like, no, I'm not. So be careful with that. But it's just looking around the teams in your league, you can work out, get a good gauge of where that team is, what they might be looking for, and understanding that trade cycle just helps you get the right deal at the right time. And it avoids you being stuck in that mid-table irrelevance in your leagues, because if you're making moves at the wrong time and you end up in the middle, you're not going to get anywhere. You need to be either first or last.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice, especially that little bit at the end. Like you're either, you have to be either contending and be ready to win, or they just tear the whole thing down and start again. There's no point sort of wallowing in the middle there. And, I think that's really interesting as well, how, an asset like a pick can sit and you don't do anything with it. It's not like it's a player that has form and goes up and down, but you're right, the value fluctuates so much depending on what time of year it is. So you're paying keen attention to the value as it, sell it at its peak and buy it at its trough. That is, those little things are just enough to kind of get you over the edge to win a championship.
Indeed. And we'll come on to my final tip. It's all to do with age inflation and discounts. So it's the concept that age is overrated in my eyes, where it results in veterans being undervalued and rookies being overvalued, or younger players being overvalued. Because what you tend to find is most dynasty players are age obsessed, where anyone over the age of 25 is considered done. And this philosophy, what it leads to is plenty of quality veteran pivots during your startups in season and also in your rookie drafts. Me personally, I'm playing on 2-year windows, whereas a lot of people play on 3-4-year windows. And the reason I do that is dynasty leagues can fold pretty quick. Yeah. You could be playing for year 4, year 3, year 4. I've been in leagues where it's done after one season, it's done after a couple of years. So you've wasted your money there. If you're thinking about money, you're wasting your money. If you're thinking about ships, you've not won a ship, you've not had the chance. I think personally, longer term builds are better in home leagues or leagues where a lot of the people, they're going to stick around for a while. But yeah, I just think veterans are an easy way to add certainty to your roster, to reduce the risk by acquiring proven vets over the sexy rookie dart throws, or the younger players that are seen as elite, but maybe not. And I think an example is probably someone like Devontae Smith, who I know you've mentioned on previous show, you like him. But if I'm going for a ship this season, Devontae Smith, if I can pivot from him to, say, Brandon Cooks and a late first or an early second, I'm very happy with that. I'd be confident that Cooks will outproduce Devontae Smith this one season. And it actually ties in really nice with the first 2 tips about not being afraid of an aging veteran, because if you're using tip 1, the tiers, tip 2, the trade cycle, you'll be able to pivot before it's completely too late to get out. And the one player that sort of makes me think of this perfectly is Mike Evans last season. He's an older guy, But let's say you thought he was a contender and you fell away a bit, you were still able to trade him for a late first, get out from there. So I'm all about trying to win in those 2 years windows as such. Plus, that makes sense because I'm 34 years old. It's all about winning fantasy titles. It's not about looking young and sexy anymore. It's about actually giving a bit of love for the older guys and bringing home those titles.
Oh, you don't look a day of your 34 years, mate. You're looking great. Yeah.
Good
but no, I think I think they're really, really good advice. And you get sometimes like comments on, maybe this isn't like the best example, like someone, I really like a Michael Pittman Jr. and you hear like, wow, he's this big, like sort of dominant receiver. It's like he could maybe become Mike Evans one day. It's like, well, why don't you just take Mike Evans then? If he's what you're wanting Michael Pittman to become, there's a guy there who's already that good. And if you're playing in your 2-year windows, like you're saying, then you could just take Mike Evans where he's going to be that good consistently. Whereas Michael Pittman, you're just hoping he's going to be that good.
Exactly. You've absolutely nailed it there, Max. I think, and it's every position as well, like QB. I know when Rich Coolin was on, one of his tips was QB age is one of the most overvalued things in Dynasty. Tight ends it's a bit of a flip with the tight ends actually, where people get a bit crazy for a really young breakout. It's every position it applies to. So just give a bit of love to the older guys.
Yeah, I love it. Nice. Well, that's perfect. What a way to round off your hints and tips in segment number 1. And coming right up in segment number 2, we're putting you in the hot seat. How you feeling?
I am feeling pretty warm, to be honest, actually. I'm going to have a bit of water and calm the nerves. You've had a ton of awesome guests on the hot seat so far, many who I know. So I've just got to make sure that I smash this draft and take my place in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, I was just about to say you could end up right here on the Hall of Fame with
next to Hasbulla.
Right next to Hasbulla in your rightful place. Yeah.
Perfect.
Right. Well, segment number 2 is coming right up now. Okay, so here we are back in part number 2. We have the hot seat mock draft. Kev, it's real now. How you feeling?
Still, I'm feeling pretty warm. Hasbulla's looking back at me, so I've got the pressure of that. I've got the pressure of guys I know that have been on here as well that have done a great job. I've got my co-hosts are coming on soon as well, so a bit of pressure, but it gives me a chance to lay a marker down for everyone else. Really, hopefully, I can smash it.
I like that. That's a good attitude. You're going to set the bar for everyone to try and leap over. So it's the same as everybody else here. We've got a 12 team, 18 rounds, super flex draft, and Kev, just like everybody else, first question is: in an ideal world, if you got to choose your starting points, what would you pick?
Yeah, this was an interesting one because there was 2 positions I was considering it, but I think first of all, before you think about which spot you want, I do think the single biggest question you have before any Superflex startup is how will I attack the QB position? I've tried all sorts of QB strategies over the years. My first ever Dynasty title was a team where I took my first QB in round 6. But what I've found is that if you don't have at least one elite anchor QB or a combination of 2 rock solid QBs, you're going to be fighting a losing battle in the medium to longer term. Yeah. That's why, in my eyes, it's in an ideal world, like you said, it's to be at the end of that first tier of QB. So linking into my tip 1, QB, it's the most certain, it's the most injury-free and desirable asset in Dynasty Superflex. It was close between 103 and 105. I think Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray are close to that top tier. We've seen them shine as high-end talents for fantasy. But I've still got questions about the elite passing talents, the injury risk with the play style. And I think even if it's not an injury that's going to knock them out for a season, maybe it's something lingering. If they've got a lingering injury and not giving that rush floor, it just makes it a really, really risky pick early on. I know with Josh Allen, obviously, he's a rushing QB, but he has got, and he's shown elite arm talent. Yeah. So basically, my top tier of super elite QBs is a tier of 3 guys. So I'm going to take the 103. Cheers.
103, and you're hoping to get one of those what is rapidly becoming, the consensus top three of, Mahomes and Allen sort of last year were established there, and, Justin Herbert is now sort of becoming, well, I might be wrong. I assume it's Justin Herbert. Who knows? We'll find out. Let's start the draft and see. Maybe there's a shock in place as Kev is loyal to his boy Jalen Hurts and takes him 103. So here we go. Mahomes, Allen, gone. 103. We're on the board.
Yeah, my heart's absolutely pounding. My guy's still there who I wanted, Justin Herbert. I think for me with Justin Herbert, you see him sometimes placed outside of the top three. Me being honest, even before the Tyreek trade, I had him absolutely neck and neck with Mahomes. Some days I put him above Mahomes, some days I wouldn't. I think he deserves to be there. If we look at sort of Herbert versus Mahomes, their first 32 games, I think Herbert's played 32 in the league. Their average fantasy points per game is pretty much identical. And the reason I think it's massively impressive by Herbert is, remember his rookie season, he came in as a rookie after no preseason. There was a global pandemic, no training camp. It wasn't meant to start for a while. There was that doctor incident with Tyrod Taylor in week 2.
Punctured his lung, did he? Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Dr. Nick from The Simpsons. And he wasn't expected to start that early. So he basically, his first 32 games were most of his rookie season and last year his second season. Whereas Mahomes, who we compared him to, he had a full training camp. He got to sit behind a great veteran in Alex Smith for pretty much all the season. He came in the last game. He then had a full off season again and did his second season all the way through. He did miss a few games in that. And then you've got he missed games in the third season. Actually, it was. He played all his third season and into his fourth season before he reached 32 games. So Mahomes did outscore him by about 0.6 fantasy points per game. But I just think for Herbert to do that level that early under those circumstances, I think it's a massive achievement. I don't think it's a flash in the pan. He definitely deserves to be there. And then I'll just make a quick point about Joe Burrow, who some people have been trying to put in this tier. He's not there yet. I mean, if we just look at some numbers comparing Joe Burrow this season to Justin Herbert's rookie season, Joe Burrow 19.4 fantasy points per game. Herbert as a rookie, 22.4 fantasy points.
Wow.
And even this season, he smashed him. So we can't be putting Burrow in the same tier as Herbert. Please stop with that.
Yeah, I completely agree. Not yet. Joe Burrow, obviously, what a legendary season he had last year. But in terms of fantasy points per game, he's not touching Justin Herbert just yet. So we're going to lock in Justin Herbert as our first pick. Gotta be delighted with that, as we imagine a lot of these top quarterbacks will start flying off. Well, Joe Burrow, he must have heard us, comes flying off the board right away. And like you said earlier, that tier of quarterbacks you can see there with Dak and Lamar, who I assume is sort of creeping around the back of that tier one that you have are coming off the board. And you got to be pretty pleased getting one of those elite quarterbacks locked up so early.
Yeah, like I said, my philosophy is to have an elite anchor. I guess the question you've got now is, do I take another QB soon, or do I sort of fade it a little bit? So we'll just have to see how it falls. I promised I'm not going to be dirty and take Deshaun Watson off there. I said I don't want to do it that way. I want to make it as authentic and genuine as possible right now on these circumstances. So I'll just have a look through the available players.
So you've got sort of at the top, if you're looking quarterback, you got Trevor Lawrence there, and Justin Fields and Matthew Stafford, and some pretty top tier running backs with Cook and Kamara and Eckler up there too.
Can you just have a look at tight ends for us, please?
Of course. So I think I seen Kyle Pitts leave. I did. So you got Andrews and Kelsey and Kittle and Waller at the top, as you'd expect.
Yeah, I'm in about 20 leagues. I've not got Kyle Pitts anywhere, and I've not even got him on the hot seat.
No, I think he just flew up. Yeah, he came up at 2-8, so 2 picks before us.
Okay, yeah, I've made my selection. So I think another thing that I like to do in my startups is to have at least one anchor running back as well. Mm-hmm. So I think what you'll tend to find this offseason is a lot of players will start fading running back and going zero RB. A lot of people will do hero RB, which is taking one at the top and then leaving it for a while. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm taking running back is there's a guy that's on the screen there that I've got in my second tier. I've got him in there with guys like Swift, McCaffrey, Javonte and Najee. I've actually got him above Javonte and Najee based on how I like to play on 2-year windows. Mm-hmm. It also adds in a little bit of spice that I'm actually starting the draft with a stack. So if you could up, you'll know my pick. It's Austin Eckler of the Chargers.
Austin Eckler, what a great pick as well. I think maybe having the flaming guitar in the back of the has influenced you to pick Austin Eckler. But yeah, that PPR upside he's got, and a link with Justin Herbert and that stack, like you said right off the bat, that's gonna be a great start to any team. So Austin Eckler locked up, and the beauty of picking at spot number 3 is we're right on the board again so quickly. And as Dalvin Cook and Cooper Kupp just came off the board there. So here we are. We didn't mention any of the receivers last time there. Receivers sort of near the top are Deebo Samuel, DK Metcalf, and Jalen Waddle, who you won't pick because you obviously think he's rubbish.
Love it, yeah. So yeah, if you just look at the QBs first, please.
Yeah, no problem. So you have Fields and Stafford. Aaron Rodgers is still there, hanging about in the start of the 3rd round, and your boy Jalen Hurts, obviously.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it's an interesting one. One thing I didn't mention sort of at the last pick is when you're in real draft, you can, and the turn, which is sort of the 4 picks at the start or the end, 1 to 4, 9 to 12 in your 12-team leagues. You can sort of guess and predict what teams are going to do when you get a little bit into the draft. You can sort of work out, let's say, for example, let's say you pick 2 and you fancy in a tight end, and you know that the guy that's gone 1, he's got Travis Kelce, and you're picking before him and then picking after him. You don't have to take tight end before him because he's not taking second guy. You can sort of wait. Obviously, in this scenario, I'm not that fussed about what the computer's going to do. I know that people can be unpredictable, but I just think focusing on my tiers at this stage, and then maybe when we get a little bit later into it, we can sort of play the guessing game. But yeah, QB, it's a position that you've got to prioritize. Otherwise, you're having to overpay. Even despite the trade cycles, you find that QB is the one position where to get one, you have to really pay up for it or get lucky on a rookie pick. So out of the guys that's left, I was kind of hoping Russell Wilson will be there, but I guess with his move to Denver, it's pushed him up a little bit too far. But I'm going to go for not the home pick. I'm not picking Jalen Hurts. I'm going to go for Aaron Rodgers of the Packers. I just feel that sort of looking at his career, he's basically always a QB1. That's whoever he's had a wide receiver. Obviously, there is a loss of Devontae Adams, but you've got to think that taking at least one wide receiver. I know a couple of years back we thought that, and I took Jordan Love and AJ Dillon, but I just think he's that good. He's that efficient. He's truly an amazing QB from a real life point of view as well. You might be able to get him later. So in a real life scenario, you might be able to trade down. But yeah, I'm going to take Rodgers. He's in a tier for me with guys like Dak and Burrow, which obviously Burrow went, I think, 1-5 or something. So to get him at 303, I'm dead pleased with that.
Yeah, I think, and as well you mentioned, like obviously he has lost Devontae Adams. You've heard a few people, saying about, oh, will Adams be able to do it without Rodgers? I haven't really heard anyone saying, will Rodgers be able to do it without Adams? He's proven it. He's proven it already. So I think Rodgers is safe as houses here, and just signed that new deal as well. So
security.
You got Justin Herbert and Aaron Rodgers as your quarterbacks. That's you got to be delighted.
And I think as well, like the way I draft, it's it's kind of balancing with age as well. So I mentioned veterans at the start, but it's not just about having all veterans or having all rookies. It's about having a nice balance, because if you're taking all rookies, you've got loads of uncertainty. You're going to have some that hit, some that miss. If you're taking all veterans, then your team's going to be burnt out in 2 years. You might as well play redraft. So yeah, getting that blend, and the way it's fallen, it's worth a treat. I plan that definitely.
Yeah, exactly. So here we are. We're back on the board now at the back end of round number 4. We see some pretty big names at the top, like Mark Andrews and Tua and Deontay Johnson up there, along with Travis Kelce, a little bit older, but obviously still just an absolute machine at tight end.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Could you go to the draft board, please?
Yeah.
Can I have a look at teams?
Yeah,
2 and 3.
course.
Is that possible?
Yeah. So if we choose, what team would you like? Do you want to see the team drafting right after you?
1 and 2, please. Yeah.
Yeah. So team 1 has got Mahomes, Watson, and Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
And team number 2 has got Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, and Cooper Kupp. And then I'll show you just one after as well, the team picking right after you. They've got Burrow, Wilson, Mixon, and Kittle as well.
Yeah. So at this stage, there's not a ton that I'm sort of worrying about for the 2 teams after me at this pick. I'm going to sound like a broken record here. And another thing I like to do is have an anchor tight end.
Yeah.
So honestly, I think if you've got any aspirations of challenging for a championship, you need to have an elite tight end. There's a top 3, a top 5, top 7. It's very debatable as to who you've got where. Personally, I don't think George Kittle belongs in that group at the top. I think it's top 3. I mentioned Kyle Pitts, so earlier you went round 2. We've got Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce. Even before the trade of Tyreek Hill, my preference would be Travis Kelce. I think he's done it for so long. There's no signs of him slowing down. He's going to be the focal point of that offense even more. But I do think the Chiefs will have enough in that offense to still give enough space. Obviously, Juju's going to draw some coverage. Yeah. They've signed a deep guy. I imagine they'll draft another deep guy as well, MBS. So yeah, I'm going to take my tight end to Travis Kelce. Banging.
Yeah, I think that's great. And you're right. Like, one thing I think maybe people do, but you don't hear people talking about a lot. The sort of, if one thing is not talked about enough, I think, is if Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews was a wide receiver, they'll be a top 10 wide receiver every single year in terms of points scored. And if you look at the receivers here, you got Deontay Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins, Terry McLaurin, Devontae Swift. They're not going to be top 10 wide receivers. Not this year.
And I think with Kelce, he's not showing any signs of slowing down. He's tied to Mahomes, who's an unbelievable QB, on a pathway to being in the Hall of Fame, which is a notch down from the Hall of Flame. But
of course,
I just think like Travis Kelce, he is a unicorn. He's like Tony Gonzalez. And Tony Gonzalez, he was a high-end tight end, one up to being age 37 now. I'm not going to say Kelce is going to do the same, but he's 32. I think 2 years is what I'm playing on. I'm very happy with him as my tight end too. Plus you're a Chiefs fan, aren't you? So it's
I am, yes.
I mentioned Kelce.
Yes, I do.
Tony G.
That both those brought a smile to my face. So yeah, I'm quite happy to lock in Travis Kelce as well. Plus, I think him and his brother are going to play forever anyway. So they'll just keep going.
Plus, I nearly rinsed you on Mahomes earlier, so it's only fair that I give a bit of praise to
the Chiefs. I got a Chiefs banner back there somewhere. There's one somewhere. It's hiding. I think I'm sitting behind it.
I prefer Hasbulla.
Imagine he was a quarterback. That would be amazing.
Oh my! Well, I think he's a QB for the Cardinals, isn't he? Pretty sure he is. But yeah, it's back round to me now at the 503, and it's so what the guy that I was thinking of in my head at the last pick, hoping he'd make it there, he is still there. which is quality news, to be honest. I think wide receiver, I've not got any of those yet, but to be honest, outside of the top 12 or 13 wide receivers, I'm happy to punt it. I think those first 12 or 13 are quality assets. I think it's a massive tier gap. I think any wide receiver between sort of 14 to wide receiver 40, you can get very similar production. There's loads of values to be had there. So yeah, because all those top 2 tiers of wide receivers have gone, just scanning the board there. I'm going to avoid wide receiver. Obviously, tight end, I don't need. I've just took the GOAT, Kelsey, QB. I've got 2 QBs. I'm not going to be that person that drafts loads of QBs and looks to trade after the draft, because I just hate that strategy, to be honest. I think it's good to have enough QBs, but personally, if I see a guy taking 4 or 5 QBs, I'm not trading for a QB with him. I'm going to let him keep all the QBs. You're not having any assets. Good luck. So it just brings me to running back, really. I did mention at the start, I like having sort of a hero RB approach with one elite guy, but there's a talent there that's absolutely screaming out to me. If any of you listen to the Fantasy Wildcard and follow me on Twitter, you'll know that I love this guy. He's currently my running back 12, but I'm being pretty conservative there. I think we've not had a chance to see him as a rookie yet. He got a new head coach. The offense is looking primed to make the step, but the guy I'm taking is Travis Etienne of the Jags. If we look, I have a rookie model which sort of projects guys coming into the league. Travis Etienne, his scores are right up there with the elite talents. I had him above Najee Harris and Javonte last year before the injury. So if he gets close to that level of production and ends up that level of value, round 5, you've crushed it, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought when I seen his name there, I thought that's who he's going to go for. Yeah, obviously listen to the Wildcard podcast. So you got to love the value of Travis Etienne here. You know, finally, getting a chance to play once again with his college quarterback, and you know that injury, while may have looked bad, it did mean that he wasn't able to get coached by Urban Meyer for a year, which can only be a real positive. So let's get Travis Etienne locked in the 5th round. Wow, that is great value. In the 5th round is you see Aaron Jones and Tua and Elijah Moore coming off the board as we wait to see who we're going to grab in round number 6. A couple of quarterbacks coming off there, like the leader chase. You got to be happy seeing people like Zach Wilson go off the board as someone's like QB2, thinking, I got Aaron Rodgers just a few rounds ago.
Yeah, I was a bit sad to see Keenan Allen and Mike Evans go a couple of picks before me. They're 2 guys that I love. I think they're always undervalued. Maybe if Brady stayed away, Evans might have fallen, but never mind.
Yeah, exactly. And there is, like you said earlier, at wide receiver, there is that sort of, kind of muddy kind of puddle. And after you get your elite guys, then you have this weird sort of potential cesspool of this guy could be this and this, but everyone is the same. Everyone could be this guy, everyone could be this guy, but no one's quite, shown it yet. Like if you have a look at the top, Rashad Bateman and Jerry Jeudy, 2 sort of prime examples of that.
Yeah. Could I have a look at QB, please, Max?
Yes, of course. Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr sitting at the top.
It's interesting. There's a few QBs there I like that I could be taking next pick, but I think wide receiver, there's no value there at the moment. It's still sort of in that middle ground. Tight end I don't need, so I'm probably going to go back to the running back pool if you bring up the running backs, please.
Yeah, so you got Edge. Oh, wow, I've just seen a name. Wow, oh my goodness. Michael Carter sitting up there as well, along with, Clyde, as Ali calls him, Clyde Edwards Hilarious, and yeah, a couple of other names up there.
This is interesting. There's a few guys that stand out. I'm definitely going to go running back. The 2 guys that are coming to mind are AJ Dillon and Leonard Fournette. It's sort of which way do I want to go with the age of the roster. Running back wise, I've got Eckler, who's I think 26, 27. You've got Etienne, who's 22. So I could go either of these picks and be happy. But yeah, I like to win from the offset. It might be a bit of a reach, but I'm going to take Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette, just signed that new deal, and obviously has Tom Brady back as his quarterback. Yeah, he's definitely. I don't see any reason why he won't just continue to shine in that offense. So yeah, you got Fournette in there to go along with Austin Eckler. So yeah, if you play in your 2-year windows, you're going to absolutely smash it in year 1 and year 2.
You'd like to hope that one of them's still around in in a year's time.
Yeah, I heard that about Brady as well. Like, it was, I can't remember what I was listening to, but the host, it might have been yourselves, was just saying, it's like, who's to say that he doesn't come back again? Like, it might not be one and done. He might just keep going.
That's the thing, and Brady presents an awesome value if you're trying to get him now, because everybody thinks 1 year. If you pay a late first and early second for him, first of all, that's great value, but second of all, if you get a second season,
yeah,
wow, you've absolutely robbed him.
Yeah. So here we are now. We're on the board, round number 7. I'll flick on all positions so you're able to see who you got. So you got Michael Carter, Marquise Brown, Amari Cooper, an interesting prospect, just moving to Cleveland as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting bunch of guys. I think the QBs, I'm interested in QB. I do like having a solid QB3, but I know there's Cousins on there. There's Derek Carr still there that's down the board. So I'm not going to touch QB. Running backs, I've exhausted that. If there was a guy like AJ Dillon there, I would have took that value. We know that running backs, they become very valuable in season as well. As a handcuff if you've got injuries or trading to another team. So yeah, I'm going to have my first dip into the wide receiver pool at this stage. So having a look at the guys on there. I'll bring up my rankings. Actually, that'd be a good shout.
Yeah, just to make sure you got.
Just to make sure.
A lot of people, as you see, people obviously like Calvin Ridley just sliding down and down and down even further the more this app gets updated. So you got Marquise Brown, Amari Cooper, Brandon Ayuk, and Mike Williams up at the top. Do you actually think about doesn't come up too often, but like with Mike Williams, you obviously already have Herbert and you already have Eckler. Do you ever think about, I don't want too many players from the one team, or you just kind of, no, good players equals good points equals good?
Yeah, personally, I think if you've got 3 from the same team, it's pretty tricky. Obviously, this is a dynasty draft of 18 spots, 18 roster spots. I think if you're spending 1/6 of your roster on one team, first of all, you've got 3 buys in the same week. You've got a team. You've got it as well where if they have a bad game, you sank pretty much. Especially if the starters. So I do like the idea of stacking, but I think overstacking, it's just a bit too rich for me. But if it were Keenan Allen, might have changed my tune a little bit. But yeah, looking at the guys on there, I've got Cooper, I've got Ayuk, I've got Cortland Sutton, and Claypool, all in the same tier. So rankings wise, you can sort of pick and choose. Looking at my roster, I think I'm just going to shoot for the moon, to be honest. I'm pretty happy with the sort of floor plays. I've got the veterans, Fournette, Kelsey. I've got the QBs, Rodgers and Herbert, Eckler as well. So I can shoot with the moon and go for the guy that I think's got the highest upside if everything hits. This guy's got a massive QB upgrade. It's a guy that's going to really match his skill set as someone that gets downfield, that is great under the deep ball, touchdown scorer. He actually flashed in early on in his career with Drew Lock. Amazingly, it was a top 15 wide receiver with Drew Lock, which is unreal, to be fair. Cortland Sutton, wide receiver of Denver, is getting Russell Wilson, and I think he's way better than Jerry Jeudy as well. So I'm happy for him to my wide receiver 1.
Boom, let's get Cortland Sutton locked in then. And Russell Wilson already posting videos on social media showing him and Cortland Sutton linking up, which obviously sends everyone into a frenzy because, quarterback throws ball to his receiver, and that's just, too much for some people. But you gotta love the upside of Russell Wilson, a guy who loves to throw the ball downfield, and Cortland Sutton, a guy who loves to just get up and win contested catches. So I think you're in for a winner there with that one.
I'm just fuming that Derek Carr's gone.
Has he gone? Oh no. Yeah, Cousins, Ryan, and Carr, like that safety blanket QB3, like those three are kind of in the same kind of bracket there, all gone.
This hot seat just got a little bit hotter, I think.
Did someone turn the heat up? What's going on? And yeah, your QB safety blanket is, it's not safe anymore, is it? You got Baker and Sam Darnold and Jared Goff, I suppose, is safe, but not in a good way.
Oh my God, yeah. Can I look at QB players and just see what remains?
Baker, Darnold, Jared Goff, Winston, Daniel Jones is still there. Davis Mills is still there, who I've been buying as much as I can of.
I like Davis Mills. I think he's very underrated. I think he's very similar to Mac Jones in terms of production. If he was guaranteeing his starting job for 2 years, I'd have him ranked next to Mac Jones, to be honest. But I just think it's tough with a new coach, draft picks coming up in the next couple of seasons. You never know. Let's have a look at wide receiver as well, please.
Yeah, do you want the QBs still there? Do you want them off?
Yeah, we'll get rid of QBs.
So you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Allen Robinson, obviously just gone to the Rams as well, and Tyler Lockett, who I was going to say is boom or bust kind of player, but that was with Russell Wilson, so he might just be one of those now.
Yeah, it's I think I'm going to go wide receiver here again. A guy I actually missed from last time was Amon-Ra St. Brown. He was in that tier as well. So
yeah,
it's nice that he's still there. I've got massive love for guys like Robinson, Lockett, Brandon Cooks, Juju Smith-Schuster's there. I can't believe he's that low, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just looking at my rankings, the two that are in the same tier, you've got Amon-Ra and you've got Juju. So that's where it boils down to. I think playing it safe, I'm going to just take Amon-Ra St. Brown just because I think I've got Kelsey. If I take Juju Smith-Schuster, just cap it a little bit. I think if you're going for stacks, you need a QB and something else. Mm-hmm. So Amon-Ra St. Brown is a guy that I've not actually got in any Dynasty League. I think he did tremendous last season. There's been a lot made of he was the only guy, but you've still got to get them targets. Hawkinson will do fine. I think Swift will do fine as well, but field stretcher DJ Chark, he's signed for them. As you'll know, I'm apparently his biggest fan, but I'm actually not a fan at all.
I was thinking about getting a DJ Chark cutout instead of a house pull on in the background, but they don't sell those. So
yeah, I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is a guy that's going to play from the slot again. He's keeping the same system, same QB probably. You never know. Maybe they'll get a Malik Willis and in time. That can be a nice little tandem to go together, both young dudes. So yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown, cheers.
Yeah, great choice as well. And I think, I hear, like we said a lot about Amon-Ra St. Brown, like people saying, well, he was the only guy. And it's like, well, then that makes it more impressive because then he's the one that's getting, double coverage, or he's the one that's getting, covered by the team's best defensive player. So that makes it even more impressive that he was still able to produce so well when he was the only guy as a rookie being covered by the other team's best. So I can't wait to see what he can do whenever he has, some more weapons around him and use what he's proved already to keep that target share high. And here we are, round number 9, as Mike Gesicki coming off in round number 9 and Tony Pollard as well. So I'll put on all positions for us again. We've still got Baker and Allen Robinson, who we talked about earlier up there. Dallas Goedert up there as a tight end 2, as well as, Darrell Henderson and Chris Carson right at the bottom of the screen as well, as running backs that are available.
Yeah, to be honest, QB, I've got my eyes on QB, but it's just a little bit. There's a few options there that are all right.
Yeah.
Winston, Daniel Jones, I think they can give me a bit of upside as my QB3. I guess worst case, if those guys are not there at the next pick, I've still got two studs, which I can look to find someone at some point. So yeah, I'm going to go wide receiver again. If you could bring those up, please.
Yeah, wide receiver again. So the guys we sort of talked about before, Robinson and Lockett and Cooks obviously as well, along with Rondale Moore still there, Julio Jones. It says Tennessee next to him, but I think he's been released, has he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Julio Jones at question mark, and Michael Gallup and Robert Woods, who's now at Tennessee, actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna sound like a right hypocrite here. We'll have to edit out that last bit about not getting players from the same team, but yeah, the guy that's standing out is Juju Smith-Schuster, who plays for your Chiefs. I'm proper pandering to you today. After the
I'm gonna just put you at the top of the Hall of Fame before I put this out. I'm just gonna rub it out and put it in live right now.
Love it. No, I just think with Smith-Schuster, like before the Chiefs sign in, I was really high on him. I was on the 5 Yard Dynasty pod at the end of February and mentioned him as a guy that he was undervalued. He was a guy I was looking to buy. He's been a wide receiver 1 before. He's still only 25. That's playing 5 seasons in the league. So really young guy. He's flashed it. The Chiefs offense, he's potentially going to be the second option in that offense now behind Kelsey. He's tied to Mahomes. It is a 1-year deal, which is a little bit risky because let's say worst case scenario, he gets injured or he flames out. He could end up anywhere next season. I would have preferred a multi-year deal, but as one of the biggest weapons for Mahomes, I think he's a huge value here. So I've got to take him, and I'll worry about if I'm going to hypothetically trade him or just try and roll with both him and Kelsey.
Yeah, so let's get new Kansas City wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster locked in. And, he said that he's on that kind of 1-year prove-it deal, but that could end up, being an awesome thing as well because, if we know that, someone who certainly knows that is Juju Smith-Schuster. So he's going to be putting everything he can into this as, he's got to make this a hit or it could be his last big payday in the NFL.
Yeah, I think as well, like there was a lot of talk when Tyreek was still on the Chiefs that he wouldn't get enough targets. But to be honest, look who the wide receiver 2s have been on the Chiefs: DeMarcus Robinson, Byron Pringle, Mecole Hardman, these sort of guys. It's not fair to say that Juju can sort of get those targets. It's daft to say that, to be honest. I think he's such a quality talent. He's been a wide receiver 1. He was going to get targets. He's going to get more targets now as well. Would it be a shock if he was top 10 in targets in the league next season? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I think he's going to be. I think once the season starts, Juju Smith-Schuster's price is going to rocket. So get him now while you can.
Indeed. Let's have a look at those QBs, Goss.
All right, let's see.
I saw that absolute sea of red on the screen and it wasn't nice, to be honest.
Yeah, you've got a couple of them coming off, like Daniel Jones, you talked about earlier. Yeah. We've got names talked about, like Davis Mills still there. And some other. Tom Brady's still there, obviously. He's sort of creeping up the board once again since he retired. Mitchell Trubisky as well, still there.
Yeah, to be honest, I could be dirty and take either Brady or Trubisky.
And Jimmy G, who's still at the 49ers.
Yeah, he's projected to be the starter next season, which, being honest, I wouldn't be shocked if he is, because there's been a lot of reports of Lance not being as far along as expected. So, plus you've got to think as well, Jimmy G, he's going to have a job in the NFL. I don't think he's an amazing fantasy QB, but he's been to the Super Bowl. He went deep in the playoffs last season. It wasn't because of him, because it was the team around him. But in terms of a starting job as a QB3, you're either looking for one of two different QBs. You're either looking for someone that's safe, that's going to play if you've got risky QB 1 and 2, or you're looking for upside, someone that could potentially be massive.
I've just seen a name at the bottom of that list.
Oh yeah, I love him as well. I do love Marcus Mariota, to be fair. I'll never give in on Marcus Mariota, you know that.
Yeah.
I'll never give up. I'm going to take QB. I don't think I'm being dirty taking this guy because he's in a similar tier to sort of guys that are going off the board, Daniel Jones, etc. I'm going to take Mitchell Trubisky of Pittsburgh. Yep. I think he was badly done to in Chicago. I think he's flashed it as a QB1 before in fantasy. He's got that dual threat ability. He's got some lovely weapons there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I think he's massively underrated. He's someone that, as a QB3, you've got upside. There'd be no point of me taking like a really boring Jimmy G at this pick because he's never going to play easy behind Wilson, behind Herbert and Rodgers. So I'd rather go for an upside of Trubisky at this pick, like QB 26, 28, 30. And if he does flash and his value rises, it's providing an opportunity to move on from him at a later date.
Yeah, I think Trubisky is a great player to get in here. And, what might be an underrated thing about him is he's actually sat, and watched that Buffalo offensive room play for a full season. And he's probably learned an awful lot from that. And hopefully he'll be able to put it to good use at the Steelers and in your team as well. So we're back on the clock. Round number 11, you got Bobby Trees up at the top, along with Cordarrelle Patterson, a really interesting prospect. Can he do it again? I'm unsure, but if he does, it would be a steal at this time.
Yeah, if you put the running backs and wide receivers on, please. I'll have a look at those two.
So again, sort of in a similar kind of role as Cordarrelle Patterson in the can he do it again? You got Connor Renfro is popping up there. Obviously, his target share is going to take a bit of a dip with Adams coming in there. And Christian Kirk, one of the highest paid athletes in the entire world now, is still there.
So, what picker is this that we're at, Mags?
We are pick number 3 in the 11th round.
Right, so it's quite a bit of a gap before the next guy. So,
yeah,
I think looking at the wide receivers there, it does feel like you're getting into a bit of a danger range at this stage.
Yeah,
but there is one guy that's, well, let's see, there's actually two guys in my tier that's left. There's Hunter Renfro and there's Christian Kirk. But I do think with the recent Devontae Adams news, it's going to be bad news for Renfro and Waller. They're volume guys. So maybe I need to drop Renfro a tier. So that leaves me Christian Kirk. Again, I'm going to sound like a hypocrite for earlier saying guys on the same team, and obviously I've got ETN. But Christian Kirk is one of the highest paid wide receivers in the league. You just got to follow the money. He's gonna have to show that he's worth that money. He's going to get plenty of opportunity to show that as well. Personally, I'd have preferred for him to stay in Arizona. But yeah, Christian Kirk, if Trevor Lawrence takes that step, he's going to be mega. I think he's actually done really well for the Cardinals. He did battle some injuries early on in his career. He had a really nice profile coming out of college as well. So Christian Kirk, wide receiver 4, I'm very pleased with that.
Yeah, let's get Christian Kirk locked in. Yeah, you're right. They're paying him that much money. They're going to have to use him even just to justify that kind of price tag that he's got. So let's hope that he pulls everything off in his first season with the Jacksonville Jaguars, as we have that bit of a long wait coming down to the back end of the 12th round. We see, Curtis Samuel and Jordan Love and Corey Davis coming off the board. It's a couple of risks for sure, as Devin Singletary flies off right before we're back on the board. I'll show you everything we got. We got another Chiefs player, if you really are, although don't know how pleased I was about Ronald Jones, but he's fast. He's a good runner. He might end up being a bit of a gadgety player.
Well, this page, it's just littered with guys that I apparently love. Ronald Jones, I did really like him before the Fournette playoff Lenny, that breakout. I thought Ronald Jones was miles better than Keyshawn Vaughn, which I was proved to be right on that one. Will Fuller, I've loved for many years as a absolute roller coaster. Obviously, anyone listening to Fantasy Wildcard knows that DJ Chark is a big love of mine. Not really. Get off the terrace, Marshall. He's there as well.
Oh wow!
So,
yeah. This is like your greatest hits all in one page, right?
It's like being on Tinder. It's brilliant. I am married with children, so sorry to any ladies that are listening out there. Let's just have a look. And so, yeah, I'm a bit good that Devin Singletary went. I think if he, I don't think the Bills are taking around one running back. Everyone seems to mock Brees Hall there at the back end of round one. I can't see it for a team that they spent like back-to-back third-round picks on running backs. They've added guys like Matt Breida last season. I think Duke Johnson this season. I can't see him adding a round one running back. So, a bit gutted he went. I do like Kenneth Gainwell. I think he's obviously a Philly fan. I'm actually not a homer. I'm really harsh on Philly players. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. I think wide receiver 5, I can sort of play for upside. I've got some floor guys in there. St. Brown, Juju. I've got Sutton, who I expect to make a big leap as well. So I'm playing for upside. I'm going to go wide receiver. Will Fuller is pretty appealing, to be honest, but we don't know where his head's at with everything, where he's going to land. Probably back in Cleveland with Deshaun Watson, but I don't know how he'll fare outside in those elements in Cleveland. It can be pretty bad towards the back end of the year. So I'm going to take another guy that plays in a bit of a strange climate, but he absolutely showed out in the playoffs. He's got a massive ceiling. I think he's got like over 50 points in the playoff game. It's Gabriel Davis of the Buffalo Bills. I just think at wide receiver 5, you're thinking upside. I'm happy to take him and see what happens. It might not be anything, but what we're in double-digit rounds, I'm happy to just shoot for the moon. And you look at the guys that's on this page: Terrace Marshall, Brian Edwards, Robbie Anderson, Nico Collins. I'll take a punt on Gabe Davis there. They've lost Cole Beasley as well and Emmanuel Sanders, so maybe there's more targets coming his way.
Yeah, I think that's a really good pick. Anyone tied with Josh Allen, you think has at least got a shout of being, real dynasty asset. And like you said, he's lost a bit of the competition surrounding him, so it could be good things coming for Gabe Davis as we're back on the clock quite quickly again, as we see other people popping up there like Myles Gaskin obviously at Miami, and some people like Irv Smith Jr., a tight end who I quite like as well at Minnesota. Is he the only tight end at Minnesota at the minute? I don't know if they've signed anybody.
Yeah, I think they lost Tyler Conklin to the Jets. Irv Smith is a guy that he gets a lot of love for not doing a lot in his first couple of years, apart from being young and flashing a bit of athleticism. But I do think, depending on what happens, there's no other good tight ends this offseason, but if the Vikings add a wide receiver 3 of note, that's going to be bad for Irv Smith. But the coach that's come over is, I think it's Kevin O'Connell from the Rams. So if they get a high-powered offense, keep that going, more passing, less rushing, then Irv Smith's a potential breakout candidate.
Yeah.
Can I have a look at just running back and wide receiver, please?
Yeah, of course. So you've got kind of the guys we mentioned earlier, and some people sneaking on towards the bottom of the board. Devontae Parker down there, Khalil Herbert, who's in a bit of a sticky situation, but quite a talented running back, as well as De'Ami Brown and Jalen Reagor.
Okay, let's just look at running backs on their own, please.
Yep. Raheem Mostert popping up there, and Trey Sermon towards the bottom, along with Sony Michel and Dearness Johnson as well.
Yeah, it's a bad part of draft list, isn't it?
I say it, I think every episode, this is like my favorite part, like towards the end, where it's just like, oh, what do I do? And like, Yeah, it's all about, yeah, as you said earlier, it's just about upside, I think, at this stage. And you're not going to get, well, you're probably not going to get anyone you can really rely on at this stage. So it's just about, right, who might win me some games.
Yeah, I think that you mentioned him then. The one guy that really stands out is Raheem Mostert. I think it's a really shrewd signing by the Dolphins. He's obviously flashed that potential, that ability in the San Francisco 49ers system, which is now over in Miami. It's looking like a pretty explosive offensive. Signed all-pro left tackle, or might play right tackle with Teron Armstead. Obviously got Tyreek Hill, Gesicki, Jalen Waddle. So it's going to give plenty of opportunity. Chase Edmonds is going to be there as well, but this is what running back 40, 50 at that range. Everybody's going to be running back by committee or guys that are in niche. So I'll take most. I know he's an old guy, but running back 4, I'm not that fussed. I think you tend to find young guys really late in your drafts as well, in your rookie drafts as well. So yeah, let's lock in most. I'm not too pleased, but he'll do.
Yeah, I think just for that upside alone, and most just kind of guy that will, when he's on the field, he looks amazing when he plays. Like every time you see him play, it's like this guy is so fast and so good, and then he just can't stay healthy. So even if you get a chance when he is flashy, you'd be like, well, I can just sell him now, and hopefully I'll get a better rookie coming back.
Yeah, let's see how it drops.
Yeah, here we are. Round number 14, back end round number 14. We'll get all the positions put back on again. You got people like Gronk sitting up at the top. You got Chuba Hubbard, Naheem Hines, Trey Sermon. Yeah, a lot more of the lesser exciting players, we'll say.
I think we'll just go for all positions. So if you could just bring up QB, please.
Yep.
I see the GOAT Mariota still there.
He is.
Yeah, we'll have a look at running back now.
Running backs on the board. So yeah, you still got like J.D. McKissick, Mike Davis, Sonny Michel still kicking around there.
Yeah, Gus Edwards an interesting name as well. Let's check wide receiver.
So receivers, you got Russell Gage. You got Van Jefferson, who, well, I mean, the Rams just keep signing wide receivers, unfortunately for him, so he might get buried a little bit, but I do quite like him. And Marquez Callaway and Paris Campbell as well, sitting at the top.
Yeah, and then lastly, tight end, we'll just have a quick scan of that.
Yeah. Aforementioned Gronk still sitting up there. Adam Troutman, Logan Thomas, who obviously had a great season two years ago, along with, Zach Ertz and the guy I can't stop drafting, Evan Ingram, and Albert O, who you did mention. I think maybe before we started recording, is sneaking down there too.
Yeah, interesting guy. I think there's plenty of tight end depth there, to be honest. And I've got Kelsey, so it's definitely not tight end. I think QB, I've got 3. It'd be pointless taking one this early. That's going to be a backup of a backup.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you go back to running back and wide receiver now, I'll pick from those 2. Cheers.
Yeah.
I think Russell Gage is an interesting one short term if Chris Godwin can't come back straight away and firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, and Godwin does, I don't know when the last time Godwin played a full season was as well. He does tend to pick up little nicks here and there throughout the year.
Yeah, he's had some interesting injuries. I think he had like a thumb injury a couple of seasons ago, and then like the ACL injury, just a freak tackle, was it? Like a low tackle that just...
Oh, yeah.
Just, it wasn't great to watch, to be honest, but yeah, I'm going to go for running back, actually. I'm going to take Gus Edwards of Baltimore. I think he's going to be the primary backup to J.K. Dobbins, who he's coming back from an injury of his own. I like the offense, the fact that they're a run-heavy team. It's a pretty decent offense, to be fair. Last season, it flashed with Andrews. Obviously, they've got Bateman and Oliver Brown, Lamar Jackson. So, yeah, Gus Edwards, I think we've seen it before that you want to have plenty of running back depth on your bench. It's better to have more running backs than wide receivers on your bench. So I'll take Gus Edwards, please.
Yeah, let's get Gus Edwards locked up. Obviously, we're playing there with with J.K. Dobbins, who's, just coming off that injury himself as well. So, you expect Gus Edwards to get a bit of playing time just to ease J.K. Dobbins back into things, if anything else. So we're now back on the clock. Round number 15. You want any positions to be shown in particular, or did you have a person in mind?
Yeah, show us wide receiver, please.
Yeah, wide receivers.
Crept on.
We got pretty much the same kind of guys we were talking about earlier there. I think Tim Patrick's kind of crept on down the bottom there.
Yeah, the guy I'm going to pick, is a guy that's tied to a great offense. He did flash in patches this season. The wide receiver core, it's got a guy that was unbelievable, one of the best wide receiver seasons we've ever seen. It's got a guy that's come over from Chicago that's basically been on a milk carton for a season, and then you've got Odell Beckham, who will he re-sign? Will he be back healthy? We don't know. We know that the Rams they're a pass-heavy team. It can support 3 wide receivers. It does use a 4th wide receiver a bit as well. So this guy's a little bit sketchy again. You're shooting for upside. So I'm going to take Van Jefferson, please.
Yeah, I think that's really sensible there. You're right. He's just unfortunately got a lot of talent surrounding him. But, like you said, they're not the youngest of talent either. So Van Jefferson's got that youth there. And, if he does find himself on the team, he's got huge upside. I definitely agree with that. So Van Jefferson locked in round number 15, as we are quickly sailing into our final 3 picks of the draft, which I must say so far is going incredibly well. What I'll do just before we, pick our last 3 players is I'll just show you the team so far, so you can get a grasp of if there's any positions you feel like you want to change up a little bit. So we've got, if I just sort by position, got your 3 quarterbacks in there. You've got 5 running backs. You've got 6 wide receivers and a tight end.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm going to go wide receiver here. I think just give me that nice balance. In fact, we'll just have a quick look at running back, just to be safe.
Make sure. Yeah. So you got James White and Keyshawn Vaughn sitting up at the top there at running back, and some names we haven't talked about before. We don't need to talk about them anyway, actually. Just looking at the names. So
yeah, that wide receiver page.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, right? Who's below them? Darrell Williams is there, I suppose, right? Yeah. And Mark Ingram's still all the way down there.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we look at wide receivers, I'll make a pick from them, I think.
Yeah. So Sterling Shepard, Amari Rodgers, and AJ Green top of the page there. And there's a bit more depth, and for the Brave, Antonio Brown is lurking there too.
Yeah, there's a few Green Bay players here, actually. That'd be a nice stack with Aaron Rodgers, Amari Rodgers and Alan Lazard are both on there. Obviously, Amari Rodgers did nothing as a rookie. Alan Lazard, I don't think he's a great talent, but he does seem to have a bit of a connection with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers lost, obviously, Adams and Marcus Valdes-Scantling. So, yeah, I'm going to take a punt on the Lizard King, Alan Lazard, as I think my wide receiver 6-7, something like that.
Yeah, wide receiver 7, I think, Alan Lazard. So let's get him locked in. I was having a chat with my mate who's a Packers fan, and he was talking about how much he likes Alan Lazard, and it was just like, he sounds more like Adam Lallana rather than Alan Lazard, like just kind of this kind of okay player, did quite well, but nothing to get excited about.
The Liverpool mention, Lallana, obviously best team.
Obviously the best team. Yeah, we'll do another podcast on that later, maybe.
Definitely.
Yeah. So here we are, penultimate pick, 17th round. I'll flick on all the positions so you can have a look. Amari Rodgers still there as well, who you just talked about, along with I haven't heard anyone talk about, and maybe there's a reason. So Gerald Everett has just signed for the Chargers. That's pretty exciting to have him tied with Justin Herbert, but whether he's good enough to actually do anything with it is the big question.
Yeah, it'd be a stack as well with me having Herbert, but obviously I've got Eckler as well. I think the Chargers was the premium tight end spot for the free agents. So
Yeah.
When it was Everett, I think people sighed a little bit, but he's an athletic guy, and all you really want in at tight end is someone that's athletic, someone that's getting an opportunity. So Everett potentially does fit the bill there. The only downside with the Chargers is they do tend to use 2 or 3 guys. Is that because Cook, Steven Anderson, and Donald Parham are not great? Maybe they think Everett's better than them, and going to give him a lot more. But yeah, I touched upon it then about tight end being all about athleticism and being all about opportunity as well. I'm going to sound like an absolute moron because I said, I think guys on the same offense that are skill position players. But yeah, the clear guy that's standing out to me is my tight end 11, Albert Okwuegbunam.
We had Lewis Wood on last week, who just I'm not even going to try and do it. He just did it so perfectly. So you have to go back and listen to Lewis Wood say it, because I can't do it just. Albert O. Yeah, let's get Albert O locked in. I mean, to have your tight end 11 here in round number 17, yeah, you gotta be pretty pleased with that. And yeah, now that Fant is out of the way, you got to be pleased.
And if you get anybody complaining that it wouldn't go there, I'll just take Everett instead. It's fine.
Yeah, we could swap them, and I'll tweak it and post
that. But we'll take Albert O for this one, definitely.
Aye, let's get Albert O locked in. I'll just say, if I just said Gerald Everett now as well, I'll just paste it in later. People can play it.
2 versions.
As we get, somebody taking Gardner Minshew. Interesting, very interesting. And there goes Gerald Everett as well. As we sweep into our final pick of the mock draft, we get people like Tyler Conklin, Austin Hooper coming off the board. And here we go. Let's pause the clock, bring up all our options. Wow, I mean, look at that. That is a thing of beauty. You've got absolute premium talents like Marlon Mack and John Brown.
Wow.
KJ Osborne.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tight end, but just to make it note, Darrington Evans, he's a guy that I really liked as a big breakout last year as a sleeper. That was behind Derrick Henry. Was going to be a running back too. He got injured and never made it back. So he's an interesting deeper guy. But I'm not taking running back. It's going to be tight end. We'll see what's left in that graveyard. Obviously, it doesn't really hurt me that I'm picking a tight end this way. I've got Travis Kelce, Albert O.
Yeah.
So it's a similar theme. This guy, he's pretty close to Albert. I think he's my tight end 13 from memory.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a massive QB upgrade recently. Whether that's half a season this year or not, we don't know the legal troubles of Deshaun Watson. But like Lewis Wood, you mentioned, I'm going to sort of steal his last 2 picks and take David Njoku of the Browns. Like Albert O, he's super athletic. There's potentially an opportunity with Austin Hooper out of town as well. You'd like to think that now that they've got Deshaun Watson, they're going to maybe open up the pass game a little bit more. There's not a ton of wide receivers. There's Cooper, who's notably bad in poor weather situations. He's cost me many a fantasy game when he's been playing in the cold, playing in places like Philly and New England. So I don't forget those moments, Amari. But yeah, we'll finish with Njoku. What a guy.
Yeah, let's get David Njoku locked in, and hopefully he can start to fulfill some of that potential that we all know he's got with a huge quarterback upgrade. So there we go. As we see the final 2 picks, Donovan Peoples-Jones and, I'll scroll down to the bottom, let's see. And wow, Marlon Mack rounding off the draft. So Kev, let's have a look at the team that you have built, this absolute, bastion of dynasty greatness here.
Juggernaut.
We've got Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, and Mitchell Trubisky as our 3 quarterbacks. I mean, just 2 absolute legends of the game, and you got Mitchell Trubisky, who's getting a probably well-deserved second shot as well, I must say. Yeah. So you got him getting in there. You got running back room of Austin Eckler, Travis Etienne, Leonard Fournette, Raheem Mostert, and Gus Edwards. You've got to be pretty pleased with that. There's easy to see the potential and the upside and just the sheer talent of all of those running backs. We got a handful of wide receivers. We got Cortland Sutton, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster. We got Christian Kirk, Gabriel Davis, Van Jefferson, and what do you call him? The Lizard King.
The Lizard King. The
Lizard King, Alan Lazard. And then a real solid tight end room of Travis Kelce, Albert O, and David Njoku. You got to be pretty pleased with that, mate.
To be honest, I'm not being biased or anything, but that's easily the best team that's been drafted on Dynasty Hotseat. Just to add a little bit of context to fading wide receiver as well, I mentioned the values between sort of wide receiver 14 and 40, but also it's the easiest asset to acquire in your leagues. You try going after a quarterback or a running back, you're paying max value no matter what time of the year you're buying. Whereas wide receiver, it's easily accessible. You can pick up a wide receiver 40, 50 for pretty cheap. So that's why it's worth fading in your startups outside of those top 12, 13.
Yeah, and you can see there, just looking at it, you took Cortland Sutton, your first receiver off the board in round number 7. So, and then you just went 7, 8, 9, boom, 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 Sutton, St. Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and you got some solid wide receivers on your team, along with, the high-end assets. You got a lot of positions.
I'm just so pleased with how it went. There was a few moments which I was feeling the pressure a bit, especially QB, when I was eyeing up like your Daniel Jones and your Derek Carrs, your Kirk Cousins, that type of guy. That would have been nice to have that level of talent, but I can't really grumble with that team. I've got plenty of depth everywhere. It is an older team, I'd say, compared to most people's teams, but I'm here to win ships, not look good on you.
Yeah, and it ties in. It ties in so well with the advice you give at the start of the show, which is age does bring down that draft capital, but just take advantage of that. And of course, you can do that while looking good and young as well, mate. Don't put yourself down.
Not as good as Asbola though.
No, never.
He looks good for his age.
He looks amazing for his age. I don't know what age he is, but he's not. He looks great no matter what age he is.
I think he's an adult.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how old. I'll do some research. I get some Hasbulla stats. I'll get his age, his height, yards per carry. We'll get it all. So, as the Flames, cool down a little bit, and I just want to say thank you again so much for coming on. I've had an absolute blast, as I knew I would, with you coming on to the show, and just everybody listening. If you enjoyed this episode, which I'm sure you did with Kev on the show, you can see here we got the Hall of Flame. So whatever you're listening to this on or watching it on, get over to the YouTube channel, give this video a thumbs up. The more thumbs up he gets, the higher he's going to go up in the board. And, we can get him on there. We've got Dynasty Allen up there. We got Rich Dynasty Allen. We got Paul Pickin, and we got Paddy McBuck taking up those 3 spots at the minute. Let's see if we can get Kev on there.
Just do the right thing, people.
Just do the right thing. Do it for Hasbulla, everybody.
So just thanks for having us on, Mags. It's been a pleasure coming on. We've had a great time. Picked an awesome team. We've had good chat in between. Hopefully given some nice advice, some nice strategy, game theory to the audience. And just thanks for having me on, and pressure on the next couple of guys you've got on.
Yeah, absolutely. Pressure's on now. So guys, thank you all so much for listening. And even though the hot seat's cooling down for one more week, remember to keep yourselves and your teams lit. See you later. Bye.